What up, y'all? This is my first podcast, and I'm pretty excited to get started on this because I haven't ever started a podcast before. But I wanted to get into a few things. Right now, I'm on this thing where I'm doing a 40-day fast, and I'm on day 11 right now. So I figured it'd be a good time to start podcasting since, I'm kind of running out of other things to do now. And I figured there can only be good to come out of this, right? Maybe a way to creatively express myself a little bit better. Now, let's see here. I want to talk about, Okay. I want to talk about the book of Proverbs in the Bible, man. Now, growing up, I was like super I want to say like religious or anti-God or whatever. Especially because my mom like kept pushing that on me, and I was like, oh yeah, if God exists, like where the fuck is he, right? Why, if he can do anything, whatever, why the fuck does he not just appear in front of my face right now, right? Why not? And I think that question as whether to God exists or not has to kind of be answered on a personal level. Nobody can tell you. Nobody can tell you if he does or doesn't, if she exists or doesn't exist, if it exists or doesn't exist, you know? So all that has to kind of like be found out on your own. It's your own, is basically seeking truth, man. And if you make truth your highest value, you will eventually get to it, man. And it might not be what you think that it was going to be. So, for example, in the Bible, Jesus says, I am truth, I am life, you know? It also says in there, it says, seek and you shall find, you know, knock and it'll be open unto you. So you have to want to do these things. You have to like genuinely like seek truth out, you know, look for it. You know, if you lose your car keys, you're not going to find them if you don't look for them, right? So yeah, much the same way, seek truth, man. And along the process, it might not be as pleasant as you might think. You know, truth is not always comforting. It can sometimes be unpleasant, maybe painful, uncomfortable, you know. And from what I've learned is like there's almost like deeper levels of it, you know. So yeah, man. But you know, it's and don't get me wrong, like I've studied a bunch of different, like I don't want to say a lot because right now some of my three favorite books to read are generally like the Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, the Holy Bible. So those are pretty much like my favorite books. You know, I've read them quite a bit. I've even listened to audio books of the Bhagavad Gita and the Tao Te Ching and just the teachings of Jesus, you know, even when I go to sleep sometimes, or if I'm on a car ride or whatever, you know. But I'm also a big fan of like The Art of War, you know. Robert Greene has some good stuff. You got Nietzsche, you got Thoreau, you got Rumi. You know, I love poems from Rumi, man. I love it. Look, check this book out actually right here. It's fucking beautiful. Look at that. Poems of Rumi. One of my favorite books to skim through. Highly recommend that one also. But, you know, I got like Power versus Force, Way Superior Man, the Rational Male series, that one's good too. And right now I'm on, I don't usually read fiction, but right now I'm on this book called 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's pretty freaking good. It's a Colombian author. I'm not done with it yet, but it's really, really fucking good. Very eye-opening, like, whoa, you know? So yeah, I highly recommend that one too. But not just that, it's like I told you earlier, nobody can just tell you the truth. I mean, they can, and it might resonate at some level. And if you're ready to integrate truth, then you'll accept it. But if you're not ready to accept it, like you're not, like, maybe it's just not time for you to accept truth yet. Maybe you're not looking for it. You're not like, it's not in your reticular activation system. Your brain is not looking for it because that's not what you're looking for. So yeah, man. There's a bunch of different things you could go on, like watch different informative YouTube videos. You can do that, but all that is also going to be kind of useless if you never go out into the world and try to apply these things. Like, it's one thing being by yourself and absorbing these truths from like books or podcasts or any YouTube videos or articles or whatever, right? But if you can't like absorb it, integrate it, and discard what you don't need, like you won't really be able to complete that process unless you go out into the world, and interact with people. We're social creatures. So even if you've ever read like Thus Spake Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche, Zarathustra goes up into his mountain for 10 years, but eventually his heart tells him to go back and share his word with the world, So he still has that want and that need to go and share information with the whole world. We're social creatures. Jesus, he did the same thing. Buddha did the same thing. Krishna did the same thing. It's in our nature. We love to connect with people, and that's a lot of the times that's what I think causes a lot of like anxiety and depression in people, that we have not found a way to connect with one another yet. And that can be tough. It is challenging, but it can be simplified. The equation can be simplified. Sometimes I like to look at ourselves as an equation that needs to be simplified, almost like a mathematical equation, like a challenge. I don't like to call it problems, but like a challenge that of an equation that can be solved. And the way you solve an equation is by simplifying it down to simplest form, right? And what that means to me is like you're like this fucking challenging equation, and you're trying to solve, you're trying to find yourself, your true self, who you really are, right? But you have all this conditioning from society. You have it from your family, your friends, your relatives, school, culture itself, television, movies, YouTube, whatever, anything, even books, and you're absorbing all of this. And a lot of this happened before you're even conscious, like fully conscious or like autonomous, So this happened in the years where you weren't really able to discern between what information you wanted to integrate and what information you did not want to integrate. So you just like unconsciously absorbed this and integrated this into your subconscious. So now a lot of your behaviors are run by beliefs or programs that weren't consciously programmed by you, So a lot of this is basically deprogramming, man. It's almost like a factory data reset on yourself. You got to start removing stuff, remove everything, remove all the programming, all the conditioning, and whatever is left, that is what is true. That is what is you, So yeah, and that can be a painful process because we really identify with a lot of our beliefs, that we have like these ego investments in our belief systems, and to remove them is almost like losing a really good friend, almost, even if like y'all didn't always get along or whatever, but you always knew that person. So when you remove this belief system, it's almost like losing a friend, and you got to keep doing it. Like it's like almost like a death by 1,000 cuts, So you have to, like, you don't have to, but if you want to find your authentic self, your true self, your genuine self, if you want to find God, that's what you got to do, man. If you want to find out who you really are, that's what you got to do, because you got all this like fucking layers and layers and layers on top of you, man. Like it can get very confusing and cause a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. So yeah, man, if that's your goal, if you're done with suffering, if you're done with all the unnecessary pain, then, because a lot of that suffering and pain is unconscious, man. So if you're going to go through pain regardless, you might as well make a conscious effort to remove what's not yours. So at least the pain you experience from then on is authentic, is true to you, There's a saying in psychology: pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So, and this can go. It can get a little bit more challenging as you go along, but the more conscious, the more aware you become, the the more you start to notice when your thoughts are leading you astray. When they're not your thoughts, don't even call them your thoughts, man. You're just like listening, you know? You're just like, you just have your radio set to a certain frequency, you know? So when you're picking up information, say like, oh, I feel shit, oh, this sucks, or like, oh, you have your radio dialed at depression, so just change it, you know? I'm like, oh, okay, like, and it's gonna keep wanting to pull you back because it has a lot of gravity. You invested so much time and energy into that emotional state, man. It has so much gravity. It always wants to pull you back, pull you back. And all you have to simply do is just be aware that it's not you. And then the disconnect starts. You start disidentifying with it already. And then the process is inevitable. You're inevitably going to completely disassociate and disidentify with anything that is not you. As long as you realize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, and you choose what your thoughts are, you choose what your emotions are, what you feel, and you can choose that. You know, sometimes external circumstances or situations might influence a trigger in your emotional state or in the way you think, but your thoughts and emotions they're connected. So if something in the external, if you yourself have a certain thought that keeps running is gonna turn into a feeling, or in much the same way, a certain feeling is gonna turn into, or emotion will turn into certain thoughts. And what a belief is nothing more than continuous repetitive thoughts. So a thought that has been going on, repeating itself for such a long time, turns into a belief, and then you're unconsciously running off that belief. Now there's a bunch of different paradigms to this. There's a bunch of different levels. So we're at one level. Oh, I highly recommend Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson. This one, really good book, and really breaks down the like the different levels that we go through, and how there is no level that's better or worse than the other. There's no level that's good or bad. All are necessary to this human experience, and we all must go through them at some point in time. So the point is like basically being aware and honest with yourself about what level you're at right now, you know, and being okay with that and accepting that. And then you start making progress. A lot of this comes with acceptance, bro. Like if you're sad, you're depressed right now, you're even suicidal, you know what? Okay, fuck it, I'm sad. I'm suicidal. Okay. Now what? What am I going to do about this? You know, empower yourself, man. So imagine this. Imagine if like being sad and depressed felt good. You're like, man, I'm sad. Just try that. Try saying that. Try being like, man, I'm fucking sad, bro. And just like, even if it's a fake giggle, bro, it's funny, you know. I'm just depressed right now, man. You know, like an awkward giggle. You know, it's just gonna be funny, bro. So it teaches you how not to take it so seriously, man, because you're here for a very short time. Do you want to spend your time here sad, depressed, anxious, suicidal, annoyed, angry? Is that how you want to spend your time here? Because that fucking sucks. It's heavy, it's very draining, and it sucks. Trust me, I fucking been there. You don't have to trust me, whatever, but I know I fucking been there. By the way, check out this dope ass shirt real quick. It's Popeye with a lot of bling. I don't know if you can see the wrist actually. Bling bling. Yeah, I just thought it looked cool. That was funny. Actually, my brother pointed it out, and we decided to get matching shirts. So I thought it was cool. But yeah, man. So don't if you're going through that depression and shit, like don't be so fucking down. Like you can just accept it. Acceptance is fucking key, man, and it helps to let it go. And it's a continuous process. You have to keep doing it because you've been in that state for a long time. So it's going to take a little bit of time to let go of that, you know? And it's okay because the more you let go, the lighter you become, the more free you become, the more aware you become, the more happy you become. Like it becomes a part of, like, you start noticing what your natural state is, you know, one of being calm, confident, at peace, you know, speaking with conviction. You start almost like feeling like when you speak, like your whole body's vibrating, man. Like, it's almost like your whole body is communicating, your whole body is talking, man. Like right now, I feel my voice vibrating through my fucking fingertips, and it's amazing, man, because I feel alive, and I'm fucking happy to be alive, you know? And I'm fucking sober, and I haven't eaten anything for 11 days. Well, 10, I'm on day 11 right now. But you get my point, right? So yeah, man. You got to choose, decide. It's kind of like in that, if you've seen The Matrix, when Neo's in the car with Trinity and she's trying to get him the fuck out of where, and homegirl in the front seat points a gun at him. He gets freaked out. He wants to get out of the car. He opens the door, and then Trinity's all like, "Hey, you've been down that road before. You know where that road leads. You want to go there again?" So it's like when you start having these like negative thoughts, or just these thoughts that are not conducive to getting you to where you really want to be in life, just know that you already know where that goes. When you start feeling certain emotions or feelings that you felt before too many times, just know that you already know where that goes. You're probably gonna feel like shit. You're probably gonna go do some drugs. You're probably gonna go overeat. You're probably gonna drink copious amount of alcohol. You're probably gonna go try to masturbate it away, or go fuck it away. You're gonna try to find something just so you don't feel that. You're gonna escape it. Do not escape it. Accept it. Let it in. I love that shit. You know, like look. Anger, I love you. Thanks for teaching me, man. And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be fucking hard, bro. It's gonna be hard. Imagine if it was your child, you know, your son or your daughter experiencing that. Like, you would love them anyways, man. Like, hey, come here. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. They're angry because some injustice or whatever, whether it be justified or not, doesn't matter, man. Just accept it for what it is. Say, hey, man, come here. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. You know, that's it. It just wants to be accepted, man. So everything you're going through, everything that you don't like about yourself, what you think is you, just accept it and love it, man. Like, hey, it's okay, man. It's okay. Because nobody knows exactly what you're going through except you. You are the one that knows exactly what you are going through. Nobody could go inside you, inside your mind, inside your feelings, inside your heart, and be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, this is what you're going through. Your brain is composed of like trillions of neural connections, and your heart has 10 times more neural connections than your brain, bro. And we're all completely different people. Like, all of us are wired completely differently. So do not expect anybody to completely understand you. The only one that's going to completely understand you is you, man. And you can't get mad at people for not understanding you, man. To be understood, seek first to be understood, and understand yourself. So when you understand yourself, you accept yourself. You know, you accept yourself, you understand yourself, and you start understanding other people. You start accepting other people, you know, and life becomes easier, man. It becomes a lot easier. You start like not to take things so personally. You start to gravitate towards people who want the same in life, you know? So, you know, your relationships become of higher quality. Your relationships with your relatives, your relationship with your family, your friends, your co-workers, whatever. You know, you start connecting better with people. Your interactions become more genuine, more authentic, you know? So one suggestion, man, if you believe in God or not, I don't give a fuck. But one thing that helped me tremendously was thy will be done. You know, may the will of the Most High, of the highest good, be done. May the will of the highest good be done. That's it, man. and allow that to feel good. Now, you can look into like the law of attraction or parallel shifting to parallel universes, parallel dimensions. You can find this in scriptures all over the world. A good example of one of these ancient texts that still have relevance today, that kind of align with the law of attraction, is one thing that Jesus says about which one of you, if your son asks you for a fish, would you give him a serpent? Or if he asks you for a loaf of bread, would you give him a stone? If you, not being perfect, basically know how to give good gifts, imagine how much better gifts your Father in heaven will give you. So like, and he also says, when you pray, pray as it have already happened. And this goes with a lot of like the new law of attraction things that are coming out. When you ask for something, it's like you have to put yourself in that emotional state that already happened, without expecting it. Don't expect it. As it says in Bhagavad Gita, focus on the actions, not the fruit of the action. It's about the process. So focus on the process and like just stay in the process, man. So you start to discover yourself in the process. That's why it's so valuable. That's why it's so beautiful. It's almost like you're watching yourself unfold like a flower, blossom like a flower. You are the flower of life, and you're watching the flower of life unfold before your very eyes. The better you get at knowing and understanding yourself. It's a very beautiful thing. And then you start see this ripple effect go on in your universe, with your family, with your friends, with your romantic relationships, with everything, man. So yeah, man, that's what I wanted to get this out there. Now, if you're a man, if you're a dude, whatever, male, and you're basically love hungry, right? You're like, fuck, I just don't want to be so alone. I just don't want to be lonely or whatever. Understandable, man. You want a genuine connection. That's what you want. But say, for example, if you want your soulmate, and if you get your soulmate right now and you don't even understand yourself and you're still miserable right now, you're still sad and depressed and suicidal, she ain't gonna change that, bro. She might like relieve a little bit for a small amount of time, but all that shit's still gonna be in there because you have not done the work to remove that out of yourself, man. So you can't get it right now, but you're gonna cause a lot of suffering for the both of you. Is that what you want? The person you love the most, you want them to suffer unnecessary pain? Probably not, man. So it would behoove you if you work on yourself a little bit, and just put yourself in a state to where you completely accept yourself. You're doing things that you love, that you're passionate about, that you're happy about doing. You do these things, and it'll just happen. And you being in that state already, say for example, as if you already had your soulmate, right? You're already, yeah, boy, yeah, and you're just so involved in the process, that person, she's automatically gonna come, bro. It says it that's why I'm like, read the book of Proverbs, bro. Read the book of Proverbs. King Solomon has some wise motherfucking things to say. In the book of Proverbs, it was like, do not chase women. Do not waste your time on women, for the God will provide you with your perfect wife. He will do that. And then you might be like, yeah, but how do you know that? How do you know that? Like, that's what's called faith, bro. Like, why do you think that's not gonna happen? You can put your faith anywhere you want. You can put your faith as it'll never happen. Or it's like, you know what? It will happen. You decide. Either way, it's true, bro, because you're creating your reality. You're a creator. You're creating your universe. You create what you think. You create what you feel. You create what you do, what you believe in, who you're around, what social interactions you decide to be a part of. You're creating that. So you can put your faith in, like, how do you know that? It's never gonna happen. That's some woo-woo bullshit. It'll never work. I'm like, okay, fine. Fuck off. Go do whatever you're doing, because that's working fine, right? That's been working fine for you, right? No, probably not. If you're watching this video and any of this is resonating, it's probably because what you were doing already has not been working. What you're doing is not working. You're the sad you, the depressed you, the suicidal you, the angry you, the anxious you. That's not the real you. The you that you think of as you is not you. True self is no self. You find yourself when you become selfless. It's a paradox. And like the Tao says, like, paradoxical words are true. True words are paradoxical. When you let go of control, you get all control. You have to realize how you're still wanting to be in control. You're resisting your pain, your suffering, you're resisting it, accept it. Because you want to be in control. You don't want to experience that because you want to be in control. Just accept it. You're not in control. Let it go. What if you were not in control of any motherfucking thing? You know, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not like, let go of control. That's it, man. And then you're like, fuck it, man. That was a big weight that got lifted off. You know what? I'm just gonna go read a book. You know, like something like that's like, well, now all that's gone. All the fucking weight of the world. I'm not in control. Like, you know what? I've always wanted to work for this company. Let me give it a shot. You know what? I've always wanted to go try theater. I always wanted to go learn how to dance. Let me try that. I've always wanted to go learn how to skydive. Let me try that. You know, I can do this if I just gather this much money and do this. That'll be fun. Let's go do that. You know, so when you stop thinking about yourself, all your suffering, all your misery, you know, all your past and shit, just let that go. You know, you'll be all right. Now, there is a lot to be said for trauma healing. You know, because you got to realize, like, well, I'm like this because of this. That doesn't mean stay blaming it. Stay blaming your parents or society. That doesn't mean blame people. That just means be aware of where that behavior or those beliefs came from. And then decide if you want to keep those beliefs or behaviors. Which ones feel best to you. You know, you decide. So if you want to keep them, then keep them. And discard what's not good. You know, absorb, integrate, discard. Now absorb, keep what's good, discard what's bad, and then integrate it. You act it out. Simple as that, man. Now, yeah, so man, we live in an infinite reality. If you can think about what infinity means, it means that anything is possible. Look up the double slit experiment. It explains about superposition and how you just look it up. The double slit experiment. It's pretty fucking dope. Everything is superposition. Anything can happen at any fucking time. You know, anything can happen. It just depends on where you want to go, what you want to do, and be consistently moving towards that reality. You're shifting yourself. You know, you're vibrating at a different frequency. So if you want to stay in the universe where you're like sad, depressed and shit, suicidal, like you just keep doing what you're doing fine. You're succeeding at that. You know, like, hey, good job. Like, you're able to stay in that universe. But if not, then like, you know what? I choose to feel different. So you start, you know, okay, what do I really want? Complete silence in yourself, and then allow the visions to come on their own, bro. Your heart's gonna start speaking to you, and then you're gonna get a smile on your face, and like, you know what? It does look nice. That does sound nice, man. Wow, that's beautiful. You might even have tears coming down, you know? And that's how you know that what you want, that's what you want. So then you stay in that state, man. It might feel like love and gratitude, you know, and peace and joy and bliss. It might feel like all these things. So you stay there. And you do your best to stay there as long as possible, man. There's this old Zen story, this old Zen story about the Zen master and his pupil, right? He was like, they were standing outside near a waterfall. And the disciple asked him, like, Master, how do I enter Zen? How do I do that? Like, how do I achieve Zen? How do I enter it? And the Zen master goes, Do you hear that waterfall? And the student gets quiet. He starts listening. He hears the waterfall. Yeah. And then the Zen master tells him, enter it from there. You know? Pay attention, bro. Get out of your head and just... The more you do it, the more you'll get used to staying there because you'll habitualize yourself. You'll retrain yourself to stay there. You won't be thinking, I'm sad, I'm happy. You won't be thinking either of them. Because for sadness to exist, there has to be happiness. And for happiness to exist, there has to be sadness. So if you're happy, there's going to come a point in time to where when you're going to be sad again. And when you're sad, there's going to be a point in time where you're happy again. And you just prefer happiness. You tend to prefer happiness over sadness. Unless your reality says different. Like in your head, you're like, yeah, I want to be more happy. But then you keep focusing on things that make you sad. Then you're actually choosing to be more sad than happy. Again, though, two sides of the same coin. You can keep being in there, bouncing from sad to happy, or you can just look at it. You know, you're not, I'm this, I'm that, I want this, I want that. You're not there anymore. This is all your I. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm sad, I'm happy. Fuck, yay, okay. Ugh. It's complete silence. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go make my bed. You know what? I'm gonna do the dishes. I'm gonna take a shower. I'm gonna do my laundry, man. Like, and you don't even think these things. You just notice them because you're still like, and you automatically start moving towards these things, man. So yeah. There's a lot to unpack here, and there's just a lot. There's a fuck ton, you know? So I think one of the key points to all this is separating yourself, just being aware, like, okay, that's not me. Whenever you're like, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm whatever, like, okay, just like be aware of it, like, just know that it's not you and just watch it. Amen. As if it were another person telling you, as if it weren't you. When you hear, I'm just fucking sad. Or you start thinking about things that make you sad or whatever, you know, and like you tell yourself within you, say, hey man, it's gonna be okay, bro. Come here. Or sis, whatever. This works for all humans. You know? And it's not that. Now, again, it depends on what you want. You don't want to change? Fine. Okay. Cool. You're free. You're actually free. Unless you want something different, then you're a slave to your conditioning, to your programming. In that case, you're not free. Henry David Thoreau once said, the only thing that keeps a man a slave is his own self-judgment. So when you're like, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm whatever, and you don't like yourself, you hate yourself, you're judging yourself. That's what's keeping you a slave. That's what's keeping you where you're at. So accept it. Exactly how you are. Like, you know what? Accept myself. I made these mistakes. Okay. Forgive yourself. Now, the only real way to determine if you forgive yourself is if you change your behavior. That's how you know you've actually forgiven yourself for past mistakes. If you keep repeating those mistakes, then you haven't forgiven yourself. And if you know these are the things that you do not want to be doing anymore, and yet you keep doing them, and then you're like, no, you don't want to forgive myself, though. But you keep doing them and then make you feel like shit again, you haven't, bro. Either that or you don't want to stop doing those things. The key here is to be honest with yourself. Truth. Truth. You know? Like you do things that make you feel shitty, and then you keep doing them. You're choosing that. Just be aware that, okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm choosing them. I am going to stop if you want to. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for right now. I mean, there's so much more, but I'm getting thirsty here. So, I want to go get some drink and some water. That's all I've been drinking for like the past 10 days. But what I will do is start having people on here and have them go through this process of healing so that we can see the process in action and then come back with results and see the improvement of quality of life. So yeah, for now though, that's it. Peace out. Thanks for watching. I love y'all. Bye.